Hello, everyone, and welcome to You've Retired, Now What? I'm here to help you navigate through these waters of deciding what's the rest of my life going to look like? What's my next phase going to look like? What have I not done that I wanted to do? I'm your host, Michael Kiffmeyer, and each week on this podcast, I give you tips and tricks, processes, and methodologies that can help you through your thought process. So we got a whole lot to talk about. Let's dive in. My mission is to help provide you with some answers, some guidance into making this the best retirement that you can. The retirement you dreamed of when you were working all those years and said, well, when I retire, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. How's that working for you? Is it working out right now? Do you know after you've had your what we call the honeymoon period, that's doing whatever you want for the first couple years, perhaps 3, you start to say, okay, I've retired. Now what? Now what do I do? Before you had a sense of purpose, you had an identity, and you knew exactly who you were and what you did. But perhaps right now, what you're having doubts. You're having what I like to call FUDs, fears, uncertainties, and doubts. So perhaps the first thing we need to do, let's identify some of the biggest fears that retirees have told me and financial planners that worries them the most. Probably the thing that's on top of everybody's mind is financial concerns. Am I going to have enough money to last my lifetime? Well, when you first did your retirement plan, you probably had that pretty well set and you planned for it. But gone are the days where you can set it and forget it because things have changed. What's changed? Number one, we're living another 25 to 30 years probably if we've retired at the age of 65 today. So why is that? Well, we have medical improvements. We have medicines that can combat different diseases. We're taking better care of ourselves, etc. But a real fear of yours could be, I didn't plan to go another 25 or 30 years. I thought maybe 10 or 20. Well, you're going to have to make plans to deal with that. You're going to have to make plans to make sure that you have what you need and how you can deal with unexpected expenses in the future. People worry about healthcare costs and the rising medical expenses. This can be daunting. One sickness can wipe out your savings real quick if you don't have the right medical insurance. Last week, we talked about taking care of your health and why it's so important. And don't you know it, right after I put that podcast out, I got sick. And it was just like it came out of the blue. I'm a person that very rarely gets sick, but I want to share with you my temperature shot up to 104, and I rushed myself, or my wife rushed me to the emergency room, and it was simply a virus. But that virus could have taken the wrong turn. God willing, I was fortunate. I got through it. They gave me some medicine, and I'm up and running again. So that's why I implore you to take care of your health care costs. Maybe put some savings away if you haven't already, because if you don't have the proper insurance, this is something that can wipe out all your savings very, very quickly. One of the biggest problems that retirees have, and why so many retirees have to file bankruptcy, it's healthcare costs. So I want to encourage you to do everything you can to make sure you have the funds or you have the ability to meet these healthcare costs head on. One of the other fears people have, and it's very, very common, they feel a social isolation. They become isolated. And why is that? Well, think back when you worked 30 or 40 years, you had colleagues and friends, just people that you saw on a regular day basis. This was interaction, and humans are meant to interact. But if that's gone, what do you do now? So you need to start finding meaningful activities. You need to find a community, join a club. It could be in your church, it could be a book club, men, it could be a car club, or whatever. But you got to find a way to keep your self engaged, and that means talking and meeting with other people on a regular basis. So let's dive into financial security a little bit because that's number one on everyone's mind. Financial security is very important. However, that's not all there is to retirement. Many people think that's it. Well, it's not, because you're going to undergo mental challenges. You've got a major life transformation going on within you right now. And if you're not prepared for it, it can make you feel very alone. So obviously the thing to do, which many have, is to start saving and investing in your retirement as soon as possible. You need to consult your financial advisor on a pretty regular basis. And I would say at least every 6 months, every three if you can. Laws change, the IRS changes, and there might be ways that you could put money into other vehicles that might give you that sense of comfort. Yeah, I am going to be okay until the end of my life, and I'm going to be able to take care of my family as well. So, and I know many of you think you're going to set it and forget it. I'm sorry, this world has become too complicated. It has become, I've heard a client the other day said, I just want to live in peace. Well, your idea of what peace is, things change. We've got technology that has changed. It's hard to use a customer service person anymore, one on one on the telephone. Everybody has gone to electronic, and you either adapt to these new ways companies do business, or you're going to perish. And or worse yet, you can become so friggin' frustrated because you can't get done what you want to get done unless you take the time to learn how to answer customer service people through chat, maybe email, whatever it is. Many companies have what they call portals, and portals has all that information, so it's right here on your fingertips. You just got to search for it a little bit. So let's say you didn't save as diligently as you needed to, and it's becoming a problem. Well, perhaps it doesn't have to be a career, but look at ways that you might be able to supplement your income. You might be able to work part-time, you might be able to volunteer. Um, you might even have a hobby or something that you couldn't focus on before that you might be able to turn into revenue if that so interests you. Hey, if we're going to live another 25 years past 65, gosh knows you have the time. So, um, and everything's gotten so expensive right now here in 2024. So, so you're going to have to find ways to deal with that. You need to assess your financial situation on a regular basis. Things like your expenses, your debts, your income to outgo ratio. Um, and you also might want to explore additional income sources. Uh, you heard me say before, maybe you could turn your skills and your interest into a form of revenue. People want to know what you can bring them in this lifetime. If you have 20, 30 years worth of experience, you've got intellectual capital that you could share. You know what? People will pay for that intellectual capital. Right now, more is being done in online learning than any other educational revenue um, in the world. You might be able to write a book. You could sell that book. You don't have to do um, what you used to do when you worked your job. You know, your job was just it. It wasn't you. It was your identity. But it was just a job. It wasn't who you are as a person. So you also need to constantly look at Social Security benefits. I saw this week in the Wall Street Journal that 71 million people in the continental United States are pulling some form of Social Security. And I know you get this, you've heard the scare tactics that so and so wants to eliminate Social Security, et cetera, et cetera. No one wants to eliminate Social Security, but just like you, the government might have to find different ways to fund it. And the challenge that they're having right now is that there's less people working than happened in the past. With less people working, you got less revenue coming in. Still, people expect their full Social Security benefits. One more time, Social Security wasn't meant to be a pension. It wasn't meant to be your only source of income once you retire. It was designed to give you a stipend, if you will, to go along with whatever savings you have so that you could live a comfortable life. Originally Social Security came about so that we could let the, older workers retire, and then we would let younger people take those positions. The younger people could, uh, you know, work and put money into that Social Security system. However, there's less workers today. Young people, many want to work on their own, so they're not working for companies. And if you're not working for a company, you're investing that and not investing that money into Social Security. There's a that's a problem. But the government's got their eye on the ball, and I don't care what your party affiliation is. Neither party wants to eliminate Social Security, regardless of what you hear. 71 million people on Social Security, that's huge responsibility. The only thing that we have to do is that we have to have enough workers contributing to it, or maybe find another way. Hey guys, real quick, if you've been struggling to answer the question, now what, after you've retired, I'd like to invite each and every one of you to my free Now What challenge that can help you reignite your spark, give yourself a sense of direction, try to decide exactly what it is you want to do in this next phase of your life. People are very smart, and they get worn out. I know that. But eventually they know they got to do something more. And you need a purpose to get up and out of that bed each and every morning. I have tools, processes, and methodologies that I'm going to share with you in this challenge that I believe will help you clear your mind and decide exactly what you're going to do in this next phase of your life. So, where else can you find money as you retire? Well, COLA, which is the cost of living that Social Security looks for, it'll rise this year, or it did, 3.2%. And hopefully that kind of adds out. It's not a huge amount, but it's about $59 a person. And you need to, everywhere you can get a benefit, you need to look into it. So since 1975, the Social Security Administration has always adjusted um, the cost of wages and the cost of living, and they adjust it with the consumer price index to see what the typical urban wage is. Um, Maximum taxable earnings, they're going to go up too. In 2023, the maximum earning subjects to Social Security taxes was about $160,200. That is, workers are paying into the system about 6.2% of whatever income that they contributed. That's sizable, and you need to make sure and that you're not depending just on Social Security to fill all of your retirement. It's not going to do it, and you're going to find yourself scrambling. So I would suggest that if you can, try to hold off retiring probably until you're 70. But the typical age people retire is about 65 to 67. Just make sure you pay attention, because one of the things that doesn't change too much, you always say, well, I'll spend less in retirement. Old habits die hard. If you're spending $6,000 or $7,000 a month, and then all of a sudden think you're going to go down to $3,000 a month, that means you're going to have to cut your income in half. What are the chances of that, especially when prices arise? I say probably slim to none. And then you're going to find yourself in a hole. Now, I don't want to scare you, but I just want you to pay attention to all this so you can stay ahead of the game. But some of the things that you might want to do is you might want to downsize and cut some of your expenses. I, for one, have drastically cut the home I used to live in, um, and to down to about I think I'm living in about 1,200 square foot now. At my age, that's all I need. I've got my wife, myself, and three little dogs. We don't need any more. Probably the worst habit we have right now, and you might have the same. You know, when you're married for 30 or 40 years or with somebody for 30 or 40 years, you accumulate a lot of stuff. And then you look around and say, what do I need all this for? Let's thin that out and let's only live with what you need. You'll be surprised at how well you can live with less things. You'll be surprised that uh, when you start to ask yourself, do I want it? Do I need it? Is it a nice to have? All the nice to haves, um, I'm not trying to deprive you, not suggesting to deprive yourself, but what I am suggesting is that this is a way that you can kind of regulate what you and your significant other, what you actually spend, what you need, etc. Don't know about you, but I a lot of things that I thought were important, they're not so important to me anymore. Things that are important to me now are experiences, friends, family, and my church. And I like, I'm a homebody. I like to be at home. Um, and you might be the same. So you don't have to go to every social outing, but I'm not discouraging that. Just make sure that you can afford it, because you can't spend, as I said earlier, you can't spend like you did when you were working. Okay. You need to review your insurance on a regular basis. You need to see where your supplemental insurance options are. We talked about prioritizing your health and living a healthy lifestyle to reduce medical costs and improve your overall well-being. I know that I went to my doctor for my annual physical, and always think I'm in pretty good shape, but they always find something that you need to do better. It's an ongoing process, kind of like we call an iterative process. We try this, and if it doesn't work, we take that out, we try this, and you need to do this as well. Probably the biggest fear people have in retirement is they're trying to find a purpose and they're trying to find fulfillment. They had their identity when they worked. They knew exactly who they were, what was expected of them, and what they did on a day-to-day basis. Well, if you've retired and you want to retire, and that's kind of what you want to do, you got to plan for it. You can't just think the money's going to fall out of the sky. The only person that's going to take care of you is you. Nobody's going to come to your rescue. So you need to set goals, perhaps one of the things you might want to do when you're trying to find purpose, you want to give back. Um, you want to establish personal goals for your hobbies, travel, and try to work at gaining a sense of purpose so that life is fulfilled as you had in your mind before you retired. So, in conclusion, we've explored uh, fears and practical steps that you might take to improve your retirement life. So, I want to thank you for listening today. And I want you to join us the next time where we're going to explore more topics about retirees and remembering that your journey is um, yours to shape. I want to help you make it meaningful and enjoyable. Excuse me. So thank you for listening, or if you're on YouTube, thank you for watching. You retired, now what? Hey, if you'd like to learn more about these subjects, I'm going to hold a free challenge called the Now What Challenge. And what the Now What Challenge is, it's a 5 day challenge, an hour each day, where we're going to explore the new retirement. We're going to explore what is your why. We're going to help you find your purpose. We're going to help you. Um, we're going to help you find your next phase so that you live a meaningful life. Ever think about leaving a legacy? Let's talk about it. I have tools and processes and methodologies. So, what drives me to do this? For 30 years, I help major organizations around the world teach their people, their customers, and their clients, distributors, whoever they interacted with, how to use their services, their tools, and their processes. We and through all that, I sat and I listened to a lot of my friends and relatives, etc., just kind of saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I thought to myself, you know what? All these tools, processes, and methodologies that I use to help major organizations globally reach people, I can help you. And that's my mission. My mission is to help you live the best retirement that you can. If you're interested in my free challenge, my email address is M as in Michael, F as in Frank, K as in Kate, two F's, Y, the number one at gmail.com. So that's mfkiffy1 at gmail.com. I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. And if you have questions or topics that you'd like to discuss in the future, please reach out to me. See ya. Hey, before we conclude this episode, I'd like each and every one of you to know that your thoughts, your dreams, and what you would like to get out of this podcast is valuable to me. My whole goal and my mission is to serve you like I have served others. For years, I had taught major corporations how to use learning as a competitive advantage. I want to do the same for you. So please leave your notes or reach out to me. And I want to gear this podcast towards your wants and needs and help you as much as I can. Again, this is Michael Kiffmeyer, and you've listened to You've Retired, Now What? I want to thank each and every one of you for listening.